It's 6 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. The Open Meetings Act is posted on the door back there, and then just a reminder with the decorum rules that we have set up there. Roll call. Anthony, will take roll.
Buckminster, Ferguson.
Here.
Foraker. Here. Castor.
Here.
Frank Killingsworth.
Here.
Kenny Killingsworth. Layton.
Here.
Reese.
Here.
Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor's reports. The mayor's gone. He has none. City administrator's report.
Just one thing, we'll have a residential and downtown commercial outage at 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. We're planning on not having an outage. Go ahead and run our 4160 side. And when they're doing trial runs on a couple engines today, we blew a capacitor and issues with our other engine 5. So we're going to end up taking that little outage overnight to get some work done at the PDC. So they're energizing, or have energized the first run of our downtown electric components. There's a piece in the PDC that missed some safeguarding that's live now. So that safeguard needs to be put in place after the punch list work. And the only way to do that is to take outage or run on our 4160 side to separate out from the 13.8 side. So all of our 13.8 will be live. So the ring buses, the CMC, we're not completely out. It's just mainly the residential and downtown commercial.
Did they post that so people could see it?
We have not, but I will get after this meeting because it came up.
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, came up
If I had access, I would.
about 4:30. That's what's
Okay.
gonna end up happening.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then the map's ready and everything like that, so
Yeah.
just gotta get it posted. Chief Baker, do you have a report?
No, I mean.
All right, since then, we'll move on to regular business. We have meeting, agenda approval, for today's meeting. Do you have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Got it first by Berg, second by Casser.
All right, 6 yeas.
All right, number 2, minutes approval for October 6, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second. First by Frank, second by Castor, all in favor? All right,
Yay.
yay.
6 yeas.
Item number 3, claims approval for October 21st, 2025.
Claims report went out on the agenda. There are some additional claims that are in your guys' packet there. A few things that got added when I was out on Thursday and Friday. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Motion to approve.
Second. First by Berg, second by Castor. Go ahead and vote. 7 yeas.
6 yeas.
6 yeas. Item number 4, discussion and action treasurer's report for September 2025.
All right, treasurer's report was not included. I did not get time to get all that buttoned up. Was hoping to get it finished today. Did not. So I'm asking for that to be tabled. We'll have it here before the end of the week and send it out to council. So we'll need to take action on that. Just haven't enough time to get it done. Question, concern?
I'll make the motion to table it, with you getting it to us before the end of the week.
I'll second.
Six yeas? All right, now the regular business, discussion and action, request to utilize 1506 Stone Street property on November 28, 2025 for temporary closure of Stone Street from 15th to 18th Street on November 28th from 5 to 8 p.m. Chamber of Commerce.
Same pretty much request as last year for the lighted Christmas parade.
Is she wanting the cards to not be on the street?
We'll probably just kind of time the putting out the barricades, I think is what we did last time. We
Okay.
didn't really put out a whole bunch of notifications, we just timed it to businesses to get closed and pop them in place, whatever is left.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
First by Fred, second by Sarah. All vote.
6 yeas?
Number 2, discussion and action, consider support letter to Union Pacific for the Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern merger.
Alright, sent this information out, they've requested city management to take a look at that for letter, but I figured I'd go ahead and bring that to council and potentially do it as a governing body, just rather than just for me or just for the mayor. They have a merger component going on, all the info went out, they got a little microsite you can learn about all the information, for that. Or they're just asking for a letter of support for their merger, or for UP's merger with Norfolk Southern.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First by Frank, second by Sarah, all vote. 6 yeas. Item number 3, discussion Fall City Edge quarterly report for Q3 2025.
Hello, Lucas Fresho, Ball City Edge. Run through some bullet points here. Just got a note in there about locals considering development opportunities for residential, commercial, industrial. Most of our conversations have been with regional developers, and that's fine, but an ideal situation would be to partner with local investors. So any investors interested in those 3 categories, please reach out. We've been trying to figure out the old Mexican restaurant, Portillo's Mexican Grill. It's 1516 Stone Street. There's a Richardson County Court judgment on that in the amount of $98,505.75. Tried to kind of work with the owner and the debt collector who's on the East Coast. Try to maybe kind of work out a deal so we can get that back to productive use, but it doesn't sound very good. And when you got judgments like that in that amount, maybe in a spot that, I'm not feeling good about getting that back to productive use. Just wanted to report on what we found, but I'm working on that for about 6 to 8 months, trying to figure out, if the owner would either donate it to us or sell it to us. Could we run it through the land bank and try to get rid of the lien? And the debtor just wasn't interested in working out any sort of deal. So just want to let everybody know, not great there. I've got a note on here, I added NDOT projects. We had a meeting with NDOT last week and just wanted to bring to everybody's attention some of the projects they had planned. There is a planned replacement of the 21st Street Viaduct Bridge on Highway 8, when you leave west of Fall City. I think that's in the design phases right now, so there could be some construction with that bridge and also the Salem Bridge. So they're planning to replace both of those bridges here in the next 2 or 3 years. So if you see some construction going on there. Also, there's a full replacement for Harlan Street, Highway 73 from either 20th or 21st south, and then also at 14th Street East on Highway 159, total replacement. And there's conversations again of the 3-lane, 4-lane. And so I know, about 10 years ago, there was plans to change Harlan to a 3-lane. The local support was in favor of a 4-lane, and so they left it that way. Now, there's a conversation going on here about if the Fall City residents wish for this to be 4-lane, then there could potentially be a cost share that's required out of the city. So they're running the numbers right now. We're supposed to know within the next month. I told them I could just report to the council, they're gonna throw out some options for us. So I don't know exactly what it looks like, but they talked about it wouldn't necessarily narrow the road, it would just, the lines would be painted in different areas. And so I know the farming community was in favor of the 4-lane for equipment and stuff, but I'll have more information to report back on that.
So essentially, if we go the 3-lane deal, it's free, but if we wanna stay with what we have.
Well, I don't know if that's true,
And
because
the last time we missed out because, if it would have been 3 lanes, then all your curbs and gutters And
Light fixtures.
and light fixtures, and traffic signals and all that would have been part of it. When we excavated it, they walked away from it, and that's why we have the beat up concrete we do from 21st Street South now. So,
See, and I thought
tightness
they
out
were-
of that.
I thought they were done with it. When I was dealing with them on my parking lot, they told me when they went north of town, patching holes in, that was done, and they weren't probably coming back.
Yeah, so it's for 2029 is kind of the target on that. So they'll know within the next month or two what the cost is. They'll report it to us. They'll ask us what we want to do, and if there's a cost share, then a decision might need to be made. But I think the city is required to maintain the 2 outside lanes. Is that right? Is that
We maintain all the lanes.
all the lanes? Yeah. But then also if you go to 3-lane, your highway allotment would go down. So there is kind of I don't know. So just wanted to report on that. Let's see, I think that's all on that. Yeah, that's all on the NDOT stuff. So should know within a few weeks. Okay, also partnering with local entrepreneurs for investment opportunities at the North Commercial Corridor. Partnering with locals is a priority. Kind of just trying to show that as a theme here. Most inquiries have come from regional developers. So we're partnered with Jarrett Simon with Investors Realty to group businesses of need at North Commercial Corridor. The next agenda item you'll see here is there's an agreement that's in place with Mo Monroe and Poppy Realty to market the industrial park properties. As a strategy, those properties were saved for job creating entities. I'll get into that a little bit more on the next agenda item and kind of explain that. We're working we've got a Google Ads account set up, trying to highlight the rail park with keywords like dual rail, new transmission line. When I've been to a couple events here lately, and really trying to highlight that we're building a new transmission line. Fall City will have capacity. People, site selectors are interested in that kind of stuff. Bioinnovations Midwest was in Omaha. There were 16 meetings with folks that are in this bioeconomy sector. As Citronic is in, 30% engineering plans have been completed for North Commercial Corridor. Those are online on the EDGE website. If anybody is interested in what that looks like, that's basically a sales tool to try to show a developer, there's a proactive approach to the development out there. We're not trying to just turn that land into cash. It's valuable land that we want to try to recruit, a business that fits Fall City to. Okay, we've identified a federal grant through the Economic Development Administration that could potentially offset costs for the transmission line. We're applying for $5 million for a substation. The whole goal here is to see how much of that $35 million we can save for our own distribution system, build steel poles versus wood poles, and so we're just trying to stack capital as much as we can. We qualify for that because of the straight line wins that occurred about a year ago. Met with the University of Nebraska President Dr. Jeffrey Gould at Peru State with some of their administrators. We found out about a rural health opportunities program that Wayne State and Chadron utilize. Peru State's also involved in that, and some of the Peru State seats go unfilled. Whereas you go study your prerequisites at Peru State, and then you get automatic entrance into the Nebraska Med Center. So just kind of working with the schools to try to figure out what that program is about and how our local students can utilize those seats that go unfilled. There's another federal grant. This is basically a community cohort that we meet once a month, talk about the different challenges of trying to increase electrical capacity in our communities. We're doing an inventory of our brownfield properties in Fall City. Brownfields are development sites that may be abandoned due to affected or perceived environmental contamination. We don't know what we have around here, but there's a grant that we're working with through a company called Terracon that writes the grant for us. And basically, if there's any contamination remediation that is needed here, we'll just get kind of an inventory of what those needs are. Okay, attended the federal legislative summit in Ashland on August 5th. We've applied for $355,495 of an owner-occupied grant. It's through Federal Home Loan Bank and through the local member F&M Bank. We should know in the spring if we're awarded for that. I think we've got a strong application. We will see. The Governor's Summit was in Kearney on April 13th, and the Citronic team was there. It was good to kind of, some of my colleagues and some of the state leadership to put kind of a name to a face there with Citronic. September 4th, the Board of Public Works approved a MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with Nebraska Rural Generation. We're exploring power plant opportunities in Falls City, just trying to look and see what options are available for us. So we're talking with state leadership. There's some private capital that's interested in potentially investing in Falls City, but we're trying to figure out if it's legal in our public power state, right? So how can private equity invest in public power? I think Trevor and I got a meeting lined up tomorrow to kind of dive into that and see what our options are. Just to report, it's not wind, it's not solar, it's not coal, it's it's some other kind of new technologies that could maybe be the option there. Edge is looking at a new 3-year strategic plan. We're gonna go over some proposals tomorrow in a committee meeting. We're also got a proposal request sent out to identify dual rail access. Is there a way that we can get the BNSF to the Mid-America Rail Campus? We've got a request for proposal out there to some engineers to try to figure out if that's an option, and then other kind of strategic locations. The dual rail, the more that I talk to folks, it's a real true asset, and we're trying to see how we can capitalize on it. Edge welcomed Dr. Andrew Offner, the new superintendent. He's an ex officio member of our board. I had dinner with OPBD's president, Javier Fernandez, about a month and a half ago at this Leadership Nebraska alumni dinner. It was good to kind of talk with him. He fully understands what we're going through right now. They're going through the same thing. OPBD's got generation issues. And I know OPBD's, it was good. He understands what we're going through, and he's going through the same thing. Attended the Nebraska Chamber's Economic Development Summit last month, and we also hosted an open house at the Rural Workforce at 1612 Fulton, which is that new house that was built with the Rural Workforce Housing Fund. There's an abandoned trailer on 1024 Berida. The land bank has submitted a request to disconnect the utilities, move that mobile trailer. The land bank would own that whole half block over there. Potential housing redevelopment is kind of what we're eyeballing for that. And then the land bank currently has 5 100 by 120 lots. We encourage anyone that's interested in housing to talk with us. I think the idea there is to potentially build 5 of something, duplexes, houses, what have you. But those lots could potentially be available at high discounts if someone's willing to build on them. And that's all I have for that.
Thank you.
Item number 4, discussion and action, industrial park listing agreement, Falls City Edge.
Okay, this is this is kind of a directive. It's kind of a directive from City Hall where, when I first took the job at Edge, these lots at the industrial park were, saved for job creating entities. And just want to read an excerpt here to you. Basically, Miller Monroe and Poppy Realty, who are Edge members, were invited to submit a proposal to list these properties. And Miller Monroe would offer to market the old tree dump site, which is 3.28 acre, and Milam's would market and Miller Monroe would market a 3.2 acre site, which is at 1500 Valley, which is north of Milam's. That property is zoned high density residential, so that could potentially be for townhomes, apartments. And then Poppy Realty has offered to market the 4.42 acre in the industrial park, a 5.7 acre, which is behind the old Orlanco building, and then 6 smaller lots up by the church to the west. So these, half of these are city properties, half of them are Edge properties, and we're just asking for your approval just to get them on the market. This is about, if our local entrepreneurs, if they've got a good idea about how to turn this back into productive use, they want to build a shop building, these are potentially in the market. Just wanted to recognize that the roadfront properties are likely held for more job creating entities like heavy industrial, and would require buildings on them. The 5.7 acre that's behind the Vantech building could maybe be an ideal location for light industrial or developments that are less about job creation and more about real estate development. So, you know, if a developer is interested in a lot for the short term, a lease agreement could be considered, but this is just about letting, you know, everybody know that these are available. And so, I think $10,000 an acre are some of the agreements that Edge has with the city on how to market these. You know, but if we were gonna sell anything that was your property, we'd come to you first, you know, with a proposal or an offer, so.
How big's the one behind Milam's?
Yeah, that is, I think, it's 3.2 acres.
Okay.
And that would be strictly residential. It's, you know,
That's
I
an
don't,
That's an FCAP property, not a city property.
yeah, Fall City, yes, which is a subsidiary of Edge. We probably wouldn't be interested in portioning that out to 3 1-acre properties. That is, you know, that's a property that could be developed into more, you know, more units per square foot, if you will.
Multi-housing.
Multi-housing, you know, larger sewer there, larger water pipes are there, that's why it's zoned high-density residential.
Yeah, so our MOU with Edge has, them to help coordinate and market our city industrial lots down there. Which they run them on the site selector and run them through, just like all the other Edge properties, through that, it runs through the website and things, but this is another option for us to try to get it out there, get a little more reach and see if we can get something done with it.
Motion to approve.
Second. First by Fern, second by Castor. All vote. 6 yeas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 5, discussion and action, request to revise the fiscal year 2025-26 budget for Fund 120, the Fire Department, to purchase additional turnout gear, Fall City Fire Department.
John McQueen, along with Matt Beer, Fall City Fire Department. This is basically the same thing we talked about back in July, I believe, 7th, before the city council. At that time, we were hoping to probably get 5 more sets of gear. We did at that time get 7. We have the specs out for our fire department gear with the same company. So we're basically looking to try to go and purchase 5 more sets. And we did get our budget this year, and it was cut quite a bit, so we have to come back here to ask to see if we could go ahead and purchase those 5 sets. I believe Anthony has our capital improvement. I believe it's a 5,000, the 5 sets are 17,000, just over 750. Gear has been something very important for the fire department. We've been working on things as long as I've been around, as long as Matt's been chief. Gear is probably our next biggest thing on our market to try to purchase. We've gone through trucks, a used ladder truck, we've gone through air compressor, through grants. Gear is the next big thing. This wouldn't fit, wouldn't complete all of our gear, all of the gear for all the firemen probably pushes close to $80,000. But between the last 7 purchase, this 5 purchase, it would get us about 1/4 of the way there, possibly 1/3. We still go to boots, gloves, hoods, and helmets, but that's in the next probably 5 years budget process. So basically, I guess before the council tonight is if you wanted to change our budget approval for the year and see if we could get this purchase requisition approved. I'll answer any questions you have.
Pretty important stuff, that turnout gear.
The turnout gear, it's actually recommended to be replaced by the NFPA for 10 years. This current gear is 18 years old. Not every fireman is going to get it. This would basically get 12 out of 15. 3 opted not to get it, which actually saves the city some money, but they're not inside fighting fire. It's just a good time to keep going forward and not try to get the can down the road. You got a lot of things going on in the city, but we fight for everything we'll get, and we take very good care of it, try and get it in inventory. We have to just, get rid of all of our old stuff. You just can't give it away. It's no good, so.
I think this is a no-brainer. One guy gets burnt in a fire because of faulty stuff, and
You start gonna come back and look at the age, there's actually, this gear is actually fitted for each individual fireman, their name's actually on it. They've been measured for height, weight, and their name's on the back, and it's got serial numbers. So we're creating a serial number basis for each individual, so
safety gear is very important. I go out and fireman too.
Yep.
Gear is very important. Volunteers is the next thing, and
First thing we're gonna look is, what is the age of gear, and what were they doing at the time, and what kind of PPE did they have on at the time? I got the day it's coming. The sad thing, you know, the exciting thing, I guess, for me, is this actually be my last set of fire gear. I think I've gone through three.
You still haven't had it 30 years.
I'm pretty sure this will be my last set. My wife says so.
I'll go ahead and motion to approve this.
Second.
So what do we wanna do? We have right now 5,000 capital equipments. Mainly, when we balanced through the budget, we did a lot of capital outlay cuts to get a balanced budget when it came down to public safety, mainly because we got a bunch of investment going back in the PD side, on capital improvements. So right now they have $5,000 and we have a pretty healthy expense on repairs that we did last year. A bunch on that for the equipment there. So we kept that extra repair budget in there, which
We're hoping
We're gonna
repairs are
need-
gonna stay a little bit.
I think we're gonna end up still needing that.
Flat
So we got
now.
about 20,000 in just testing, unit, truck testing, and with that, usually some component needs to repair, on that, which I ran in about $12,000 like last year.
That outrigger.
Doing that, so that's where most of the cuts came back through to get it balanced. It actually is an increase in the budget overall, but it's a reduce in the capital outlays. We just need to see, I guess, if we prove this, I guess we need to kind of put a number associated to it. Are we adding the 17,500 to the 5,000, or going up to 17,750, or?
Oh, you guys are setting good up, except for this gear. I mean,
Yes.
you guys would,
You got new air packs.
Yep.
I mean,
Well, we still have small equipment budget in there, and some other operational equipment repairs. There's some additional dollars that can be associated with it.
Yeah.
I think we go ahead and approve this as safety first, and if the time comes, if we have any repairs, we'll run low on budget, we'll work something out.
I would just say, let's just add the 17, so
17
then, I mean,
to
5,000,
five,
then
yeah.
we have it there,
I
so we don't have
agree.
to come through if you need a new bottle or something, you know what I'm saying?
So the motion's made.
That works.
All vote?
Sorry, who did we have
Me.
for?
Right, second.
6 yeas?
Thank you for your time and your support.
Thank you for your work.
Item number 6, discussion and action resolution for signing the 2025 municipal annual certification of program compliance to the Nebraska Board of Public Roads Classifications and Standards as recommended by the Board of Public Works.
Alright, so each year you got this is to certify that we've met the conditions, for your highway allocation program with the street superintendent program. And we'll have the appointment of the new street superintendent coming up and for this coming year. This documents that, this got to be submitted before the end of the month, to the state, so. This is the resolution showing that.
Motion to approve. All vote? 6 yeas. Item number 7, authorize execution of an agreement with Ferris Engineering totaling $95,000 for grid resiliency project as recommended by the Board of Public Works.
This is the grid resiliency project, which we have the grant on. They solicited 3 engineers, I believe Ferris, Olson, and JEO. Ferris came in with the best value, I guess, when it comes down to it, so that's what the Board of Public Works recommended. There's a pretty big swing on a couple of them.
Motion to approve.
Second. Discussion number 8, discussion and action authorization of execution of letter of agreement with Olson totaling $1,507,000, $7,421 for phase 10, 20, and 30 of the Energy Forward Transmission Improvement Project as recommended by the Board of Public Works.
Alright, so it's a pretty healthy scope of work that we've developed with Olson. for the transmission project. Initially, we've negotiated through these 3 phases, which are all on the front end. Some of the additional phases will kind of parlay off of these, with cost. So there is additional to go above and beyond this. If you read through the work, it says we're estimated to stay, under the feasibility study cost, which what was originally estimated. And work through these items, and then we'll negotiate the remaining components. What went out, you guys do have a little handout that I've laid on your desk. We did make some revisions that I got to Olson from legal and from me, some requests and some of the language terms, changing them, making those a little bit more favorable to the city than to the consultant, so they incorporated those changes in this. Dunn's office re-reviewed it this morning, so they're all incorporated, for the letter agreement that would be executed. That's step 1, isn't it? Yep, pretty much.
Motion to approve. Let's get it rolling.
Second by Castro. All vote.
6 yeas?
Item number 9, request to approve and purchase a SCADA system equipment in the amount of $98,605 to SCL Engineering Services for the power plant controls upgrade project as recommended by the Board of Public Works.
The Board of Public Works took that out for bids. If you remember, Trevor talked about this a while back when we picked, SEL to do the engineering services. We bring the material components out, to get additional numbers. Even SEL is a designer of those, but they are out for market, so we've got numbers for that. SEL did come in with the lowest rate for those pieces.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Frank. All vote.
6 yeas?
Item number 10, discussion and action, authorize execution of loan agreement addendum for the 1612 Fulton Rural Workforce Housing Project.
As we talked a while back, that grant agreement, since that project is built, you had a 12-month agreement to get that sold. It was not sold, so we went ahead and requested to get an extension on that. This is a 6-month extension. We can't get additional extensions if we need to, but we'll get it resolved before that. This keeps us in compliance, so the city doesn't have to pay back that $317,900 loan without having payment for the property.
Has there been put an interest in it? I mean, do we know that interest in the house? Nothing?
No, it just extends the grant for that. So I'd say it's a loan, but it's
No, I mean,
actually a
any
grant.
interest in the house, I guess what I was meaning, any interest in
Oh,
buying the
Oh,
house.
Buying
back.
sorry.
Sorry, I wasn't meant, that was meaning necessarily, being interested in somebody buying the house. Sure.
I haven't talked to Doug for a bit, so I'll have to check. I gotta call him tonight anyways for another deal, so I'll ask him.
We should get the ball rolling and make an offer.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All
Motion
right.
to approve.
Second.
Second by Frank, all vote. 6 yeas. Being there's no further business before this board, meeting adjourned.